On my son's birthday, no one showed up. When I called, Mom said, "We're busy at your brother's kids' party. You should have planned better." I just smiled, took a photo of my son holding his cake, and posted, "Next year, we're celebrating with people who actually care." That night, Dad showed up at my door, furious about what everyone was saying, but he had no idea what I'd done. An hour earlier, my name is Ethan. I'm 38 years old. For most of my life, I've been the dependable one. The one who shows up early, stays late, and never complains. The one who remembers every birthday, every anniversary, every milestone. The one who quietly wires money when Mom calls about the water heater, or when Dad needs help with property taxes, or when my brother Eric suddenly can't make rent because he bought another jet ski. I grew up watching Eric get the bigger bedroom, the newer car, the college fund that somehow never ran dry. I got the hand-me-downs and the speeches about responsibility. When I graduated high school with honors, Dad shook my hand. When Eric barely scraped through 2 years later, they threw him a party with a banner and a catered buffet. I told myself it didn't matter. Family is family. My son turned 7 today. His name is Oliver. He has my eyes and his mother's smile. Though she left us 3 years ago when the stability I offered couldn't compete with the adventure someone else promised. Oliver doesn't talk about her much anymore. He talks about his birthday instead. He'd been counting down for weeks, circling today's date on the kitchen calendar with a red marker, adding stickers around the edges. I spent last night blowing up balloons in our small living room, blue and green ones because those are his favorite colors. I hung streamers across the doorway and set up a table with his birthday cake, chocolate with vanilla frosting, decorated with a soccer ball because he joined a team this year. I bought party hats, noisemakers, and enough pizza for 15 people. I sent the invitations 3 weeks ago. Mom said she'd be there. Dad said he wouldn't miss it. Eric said he'd bring his kids, Oliver's cousins, because they always have fun together. My Aunt Linda said she'd come early to help set up. The party was supposed to start at 2 in the afternoon. By 2:15, Oliver sat on the couch in his new birthday shirt, watching the door. By 2:30, he asked if maybe people were just running late. By 3, he stopped asking. I tried calling Mom first. It rang 4 times before she picked up. "Ethan, honey, can this wait? We're in the middle of something." I could hear laughter in the background, children squealing, music playing. "Mom, it's Oliver's birthday party. Where are you?" There was a pause. Not the kind of pause that means someone forgot. The kind that means someone remembered and chose differently. "Oh, sweetie, we're at Eric's house. It's Madison's birthday party." "You know, his daughter?" "She turned 5 today. Eric planned this whole princess theme weeks ago. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a bouncy castle and a face painter and everything." My hand tightened around the phone. "Oliver's party is today. I sent invitations. You said you'd come." "Well, Ethan, you should have coordinated better. You know how busy weekends get. Eric had this date locked in for over a month. Maybe next time check with everyone first before you just pick a day." The line went dead. I stood there in my living room, surrounded by balloons and streamers and a chocolate cake with 7 candles, watching my son try not to cry. Oliver didn't ask why no one came. He just looked at me with those wide, hopeful eyes that children have before the world teaches them disappointment, and said, "Can we still have cake, Dad?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to call every single person who said they'd be here and ask them how they could do this to a 7-year-old boy. But instead, I smiled and said, "Of course we can, buddy. Let's light those candles." We sang happy birthday together, just the 2 of us in that quiet living room. Oliver closed his eyes and made a wish, then blew out all 7 candles in one breath. When he opened his eyes, he was smiling, but I could see the disappointment hiding underneath. "What did you wish for?" I asked. "I can't tell you, or it won't come true." I cut him a big slice of cake and we ate in silence. He kept glancing at the door like, maybe, just maybe, someone would still walk through it. No one did. After cake, I helped him open his presents. I'd bought him 3 wrapped in bright paper, a soccer ball, a science kit, and the video game he'd been asking about for months. He smiled at each one, said thank you, hugged me tight, but his voice was small, distant. At 4:30, I tried calling Dad. He answered on the first ring, his voice booming and cheerful. "Ethan, how's the birthday boy?" "Sitting here alone, Dad. Where is everyone?" "Oh, we're at Eric's place. Madison's party, you know. Your mother didn't tell you?" "She told me I should have planned better." Dad laughed, actually laughed. "Well, son, you know how it is. Eric went all out this year, rented a bouncy castle, hired an entertainer, the whole 9 yards. Everyone's here. Your Aunt Linda brought her famous potato salad. Even your Uncle George drove in from Pittsburgh. Madison's having the time of her life." Something cold settled in my chest. "Oliver's 7 today." I know. We'll make it up to him. Maybe take him out for ice cream next weekend. Tell him Grandpa says happy birthday. He's been sitting here for 2 hours waiting for you." "Ethan, don't be dramatic. He's a kid. He'll get over it. Listen, I gotta go. They're about to bring out the cake. Love you, son." He hung up. I stood there holding the phone, staring at my son, who was now lying on the floor pushing his new soccer ball back and forth between his hands. And something inside me shifted. It wasn't anger. Not yet. It was clarity. I'd spent 38 years being the invisible son, the dependable disappointment, the one who got hand-me-downs and half-hearted promises. I told myself it didn't matter because family's family. But Oliver mattered. My son, sitting alone on his birthday, mattered more than their excuses. I walked over and sat down beside him. "Hey, buddy, let's take a picture with your cake." Oliver looked up, confused. "Why?" "Because I want to remember today." He climbed onto the chair and I positioned the cake in front of him, all 7 candles still standing there, unlit again. I handed him my phone. "Hold it up and smile." He did. That brave little smile that kids wear when they're trying not to let their parents see their hurt. I took the photo, then I opened social media and started typing. I didn't post it right away. I sat there staring at the photo for a long time. Oliver's small hands wrapped around that cake, the empty room behind him, all those decorations I'd hung for people who never came. The caption wrote itself. "My son turned 7 today. We sent invitations 3 weeks ago. No one came. When I called, I was told they were too busy at my brother's daughter's party and that I should have planned better. Next year we'll celebrate with people who actually care." My finger hovered over the post button. There was a time when I would have deleted it, when I would have told myself that keeping the peace was more important than being heard. That family loyalty meant swallowing every disappointment, every broken promise, every moment of being second best. But I looked at Oliver, who'd fallen asleep on the couch, still wearing his party hat, and I pressed post. The response was immediate. Within minutes, comments started rolling in. Friends from work, old college classmates, people I hadn't spoken to in years. They all said the same thing. "This is heartbreaking. Your family should be ashamed. That little boy deserves better." The shares came next. 10, then 50, then 100. The post spread beyond my immediate circle, picked up by parenting groups and community pages. Strangers weighed in with their own stories of family betrayal, of being overlooked, of watching their children suffer because of someone else's cruelty. By 6 o'clock, the post had 2,000 reactions. By 7, it had 5,000. At 8, my phone started ringing. I didn't answer. I knew who it was. I carried Oliver to his bed, tucked him in, kissed his forehead. He stirred but didn't wake. I stood in his doorway for a long time, watching him sleep, thinking about all the birthdays I'd attended for Eric's kids. All the times I'd showed up with presents and smiles while my own son stayed home with a babysitter because I was being dependable. I thought about the day Oliver was born, how I'd called everyone to share the news, how excited I was to finally have a family of my own. Mom said congratulations, but she had to go. She was helping Eric move into his new place. Dad said he'd visit soon, but he was busy with a project. Eric never called back. 3 years later, when Oliver's mother left, I called Mom crying. She told me marriage was hard and I needed to try harder. I asked if she could come stay with us for a week, just to help with Oliver while I figured things out. She said Eric's wife had just had their second baby and she'd already committed to helping them. I stopped calling after that. Tonight, sitting alone in my living room surrounded by deflated balloons and uneaten pizza, I finally understood something I'd been avoiding my whole life. I was never going to be enough for them. My phone buzzed 17 times between 8 and 9. I ignored every call, every text. Instead, I opened my laptop and started going through files. I'm a financial analyst. I keep records of everything. Spreadsheets, receipts, bank statements, all organized by date and category. It's what I do for a living, and it's what I've been doing for my family for the past 15 years. I pulled up the folder labeled Family Support. The first entry was from 2010. Mom's car repair. I'd wired her $1,200 because Dad was between jobs and they needed the transmission fixed. She promised to pay me back when tax returns came in. She never did. 2011, Eric's first apartment. He needed first and last month's rent plus security deposit. $3,400. I told him to consider it a loan. He said he'd pay me back in 6 months. That was 14 years ago. 2012, Dad's medical bills after his knee surgery. Insurance didn't cover everything. I paid $5,600 out of pocket because Mom was crying on the phone saying they were going to lose the house. 2013, Eric's wedding. He wanted the venue of his dreams but came up short by $8,000. I was supposed to be best man. I wrote the check and gave a toast about brotherhood. 2014, Mom's kitchen renovation. She didn't ask, she told me. Said the cabinets were falling apart and they deserved something nice after all these years. $12,000. 2015, Eric's first kid, Madison. They needed a bigger car, something safe for the baby. I co-signed the loan because his credit was terrible. $28,000. He missed 3 payments before I quietly started covering them to protect my own credit score. The list went on and on and on. Page after page of wire transfers, checks, co-signed loans, emergency bailouts. Each one with a note, each note with a promise. We'll pay you back. You're such a lifesaver. Family takes care of family. I added it all up. Over 15 years, I'd given my family $127,000. I sat back and stared at that number. $127,000. Money that could have bought Oliver's college education. Money that could have been a house down payment. Money that could have been security, stability, a future. Instead, it bought me a lifetime of being taken for granted. My phone rang again. This time I looked. Dad. I sent it to voicemail. A text came through immediately. Ethan, answer your phone. We need to talk about this post. You're embarrassing the family. I read it twice, then typed out a response. I'll call you back. But I didn't call him back. Instead, I opened my banking app and started making changes. Small ones at first. The kind that wouldn't be noticed immediately but would cascade into something much bigger. I canceled the auto pay on Eric's car loan, the one I'd been covering for 6 years. I removed myself as an authorized user on Mom's credit card, the one I'd been paying the balance on every month. I closed the joint savings account Dad had opened for emergencies that somehow only ever had emergencies when he needed cash. Each click felt like removing a weight from my shoulders. The banging on my door started at 9:30. I was expecting it. I'd been expecting it since the moment I hit post. I walked to the door slowly, checking on Oliver first. He was still asleep, his small chest rising and falling peacefully. Through the peephole, I could see Dad's face. Red, furious. I opened the door but didn't step aside. What the hell is wrong with you? Dad pushed past me into the house, his voice loud enough to wake the neighbors. Do you have any idea what you've done? Your mother is in tears. Eric's wife is getting messages from people she doesn't even know, calling her a terrible person. You've made us look like monsters. I closed the door quietly. Keep your voice down. Oliver's sleeping. Don't you dare tell me what to do in your house when you just humiliated your entire family online. 12,000 people have seen that post, Ethan. 12,000 strangers think we're horrible parents. I walked to the kitchen and poured myself water. Dad followed, still ranting. You owe us an apology. You need to take that post down right now and write something about how it was all a misunderstanding. I took a long drink, then set the glass down carefully on the counter. No. Dad stopped mid-sentence. What did you say? I said no. I'm not taking it down. I'm not apologizing. And I'm not lying to protect you anymore. His face went from red to purple. You ungrateful little... Do you know what we've done for you? We raised you. We fed you. We gave you a home. You gave Eric a home. You gave me a place to sleep and a list of expectations. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you came to one of Oliver's events? His soccer games? His school plays? When was the last time you called me just to see how I was doing instead of asking for money? Dad's jaw tightened. We don't ask you for money. You offer. Because you guilt me into it. Because Mom cries and says you're struggling. Because Eric calls and says he's desperate. Because every time I try to say no, you remind me that family takes care of family. We do take care of family. You take care of Eric. You take care of Madison. You take care of everyone except me and Oliver. That's ridiculous. We love you. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, opening the calculator app where I'd saved the total. $127,000. Dad blinked. What? That's how much money I've given this family over the past 15 years. $127,000. I have every receipt, every bank transfer, every check. Do you know how much you paid back? Silence. Zero. Not a single dollar. We've been meaning to. It's fine. I'm not asking for it back. I'm just done adding to it. Dad's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means I canceled the auto pay on Eric's car loan. I removed myself from Mom's credit card. I closed our joint account. It means from now on, you handle your own finances. You can't do that. Eric needs that car for work. Your mother uses that card for groceries. Then Eric should pay his own loan, and Mom should use Dad's income for groceries? You selfish son of... Get out. The words came out quiet but firm. Dad stared at me like he'd never seen me before. What? Get out of my house, right now, before I wake up Oliver and he sees his grandfather screaming at his father on his birthday. Dad opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Then he turned and walked to the door. He paused with his hand on the knob. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. The door slammed behind him. After Dad left, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and started printing documents. Every receipt, every bank statement, every text message where someone promised to pay me back. Every email where I was guilted into sending more money. I organized them into folders. One for Mom and Dad, one for Eric, one for miscellaneous family expenses that I'd covered over the years. The printer hummed for an hour straight. While it printed, I drafted emails. The first one went to the loan company for Eric's car. I attached proof of my payments and formally requested removal as cosigner, citing financial irresponsibility of the primary borrower. I included documentation of the 3 missed payments before I started covering them. The second email went to my credit card company. I requested a full accounting of charges made on Mom's authorized user card and formally revoked her access. I noted that any new charges would be reported as fraudulent. The third email went to my bank. I closed the joint savings account and requested all funds be transferred to my personal checking. The balance was $847. I deposited $15,000 into that account over 2 years. Dad had withdrawn $1,400 and $150 for various emergencies that were never quite explained. While I worked, my phone continued buzzing. Text after text. Mom, how could you do this to us? We're your parents. Eric. Bro, what the hell? My car payment just bounced. Aunt Linda. Your mother is devastated. You should be ashamed. Eric's wife. People are sending me horrible messages because of you. I read each one carefully. Then I began drafting responses. Not emotional ones, clinical ones. The kind I'd write in a professional email. To Mom, I have provided $127,000 in financial support over 15 years. I can no longer continue this pattern. I wish you and Dad well. To Eric, I have covered your car payments for 6 years. The loan is in your name. You are responsible for payments going forward. I've attached documentation of my contributions if you need to refinance. To Aunt Linda, thank you for your concern. I'm focusing on my son's well-being. To Eric's wife, I posted a factual account of my son's birthday. If people are responding negatively, perhaps you should reflect on the actions described rather than the person who described them. I didn't send any of them yet. Instead, I saved them as drafts. Then I did something else, something I'd been avoiding for 3 years. I opened my email archives and searched for messages from Oliver's mother. There weren't many. She'd left in a hurry, sent a few apologetic texts, then gradually faded into silence. But there was one email that I'd never responded to, one sent 6 months after she left. Ethan, I know I don't have the right to ask this, but is Oliver okay? I think about him every day. If he ever wants to talk, I'm here. I deleted it the day I received it, or thought I had, but it was still in my trash folder, preserved by some automatic backup I'd forgotten about. I stared at that email for a long time. She'd abandoned us, walked away when things got hard. But she was still Oliver's mother, and Oliver, on his 7th birthday, had sat alone in a room full of decorations, waiting for people who never came. Maybe he deserved to know that at least one person, somewhere, was thinking about him. I hit reply and typed carefully, Oliver is 7 now. He's smart, kind, and braver than I ever was. Today was his birthday. My family didn't show up. I'm learning what it means to let go of people who don't value you. If you want to send him a birthday message, I won't stop you. He deserves to feel wanted by someone. I hit send before I could change my mind. The fallout started at 6 in the morning. My phone rang. Mom. I answered this time. Ethan, the credit card isn't working. I'm at the grocery store and it's declining. That's because I removed you as an authorized user last night. You what? How am I supposed to buy groceries? With Dad's income, or your own money, like everyone else does. We don't have... Ethan, this isn't funny. I have a cart full of food. Then I suggest you put some things back. She hung up on me. 20 minutes later, Eric called. Dude, my car payment bounced and now the loan company is threatening repossession. What did you do? I stopped paying your bills. You can't just stop. I need that car. Then pay for it. It's your loan. I don't have the money right now. We just got back from Madison's birthday party and... I know, I heard all about it. Bouncy castle and everything. Ethan, come on, don't be petty. Petty would be reporting the missed payments you made 3 years ago. Petty would be demanding immediate repayment of the 6 years of payments I covered. I'm being generous by walking away clean. You're screwing me over. No, I'm letting you be responsible for yourself. There's a difference. Mom and Dad are going to hear about this. They already have. Dad was here last night. Eric went quiet for a moment. Look, I'm sorry Oliver's party didn't work out, but you have to understand, Madison's party was already scheduled. We couldn't just cancel. You could have come to both, or sent a card, or called. You did none of those things. We were busy. You were making a choice. You chose Eric's daughter over my son. You all did, and now I'm making a choice too. I hung up. By noon, the post had reached 50,000 shares. Local news outlets were picking it up. Lonely birthday party goes viral, one headline read. Families cruel, no-show sparks online outrage, said another. My inbox filled with interview requests. Morning shows wanted my story. Parenting blogs wanted quotes. I declined them all. But I did accept one call from a family lawyer. Mr. Ethan, I saw your post. I'm calling because what you described, combined with your financial documentation, suggests a pattern of exploitation that might be legally actionable. I'm not trying to sue anyone. I understand, but I am suggesting you protect yourself. If you've been co-signing loans, providing financial support, or giving access to your accounts, you need to document everything and establish clear legal boundaries. Otherwise, when your family's finances collapse, and they will collapse, they might try to drag you down with them. I scheduled a consultation for Monday. At 2 o'clock, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole expecting Dad again. It was Mom. She was crying. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Ethan, please, you have to understand. Understand what? We didn't mean to hurt Oliver. Eric's party was already happening, and Madison is so young and... Oliver is 7, Mom. He's young too. And he sat alone waiting for you. I know. But you can't just cut us off like this. We need you. You need my money, there's a difference. That's not fair. I pulled out my phone and showed her the calculator total. $127,000. That's what I've given you. That's what you've taken. And that's why I'm done. Mom's face crumpled. What are we supposed to do? Figure it out. Like I did when Oliver's mother left. Like I did when I needed help and you were too busy with Eric. Like I've done my entire life. You're being cruel. No, I'm being honest and you can't handle it. I closed the door while she was still standing there. 3 weeks later, Eric's car was repossessed. He called me 11 times. I didn't answer. 4 weeks later, Mom and Dad started downsizing. They couldn't afford the mortgage without my supplemental payments. They moved into a smaller house across town. 5 weeks later, Eric's wife filed for separation. Apparently, the financial stress and revelations about how much they'd been depending on me created other cracks in their marriage. I felt nothing watching it all unfold. Not satisfaction, not guilt, just a quiet sense of closure. Oliver adjusted better than I expected. I explained in 7-year-old terms that sometimes families disappoint us, but that doesn't mean we're not worthy of love. He seemed to understand in that wise way children sometimes do. We started new traditions. Saturday morning pancakes, just the two of us. Bedtime stories where I made up adventures featuring a brave soccer player who saved the day. Weekly calls with his mother, who sent him a belated birthday package with a heartfelt apology and a promise to do better. She didn't ask to see him yet, but the fact that she asked about him was more than my family had done in years. I hired the family lawyer and formally documented every financial transaction with my family. We drafted cease and desist letters for any future requests for money. We established legal boundaries that protected both me and Oliver. The viral post eventually faded from the internet's attention span, replaced by newer outrages and fresher stories. But the damage to my family's reputation in our community was permanent. People remembered. At the grocery store, at church, at local events, people gave them cold looks and whispered. I didn't gloat. I didn't explain. When people asked me about it, I simply said, I'm focusing on my son now. On Oliver's 8th birthday, we threw a party at a local park. I invited his soccer team, his classmates, and 3 co-workers who'd become real friends over the years. 20 people showed up. They played games, ate cake, and sang happy birthday so loud the entire park could hear. Oliver blew out his candles and made a wish. When I asked him what it was, he smiled and said, I can't tell you, or it won't come true. But this time, his smile was real, full, unburdened. That night, after everyone left and Oliver was asleep, I stood on my back porch looking at the stars. My phone was quiet. No desperate texts, no guilt trips, no late-night calls about emergencies, just peace. I thought about the man I used to be, the one who believed that family loyalty meant endless sacrifice, the one who thought being dependable meant being invisible, the one who taught his son, through silence and example, that your worth is measured by how much you give to people who never give back. That man was gone. In his place stood someone else, someone who knew that the best gift I could give Oliver wasn't money or stability or even presence. It was the knowledge that he deserved to be celebrated, valued, and seen, and that anyone who couldn't do that, family or not, didn't deserve a place in his life. I went inside, kissed my sleeping son on the forehead, and went to bed. Tomorrow was a new day, and we were finally free.